I mean,
maybe even before that. Well, and we had that whole thing with the experiment with Isaiah Thomas, Eric Bledsoe, and Gordon Dragic.
Well, after they traded Thomas and Dragic,
they
went Bledsoe, here are the reins.
And then a year later, they were like, I don't know about that.
By last trade deadline, he was already on the block again.
But, I mean, if you look at it from the Suns' perspective, and I'm trying to be as positive as possible about this, and I've always been a proponent of, let's just go, if we're going to try to tank and try to be, to do this rebuilding thing, let's just go all in on it, do what the Sixers did, get all these young pieces together, and then see where it goes from there. We can make trades from there or whatever. So Eric Bledsoe is still younger, and the same kind of thing that the Bulls were going through this offseason, where Jimmy Butler was around 28, which is about the same age as Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe will be 28 in December.
Yeah, so he's 28. He's still a young player, but he's also, we had to sit him last year so we could try to tank as much as possible. It did happen with an injury, and then we're like, we're not going to bring you back. But also, if you look at Eric Bledsoe's games in the NBA, since he's been with the Phoenix Suns, I think it's been 40. He's played 40 games this first season, 30 games his second. 40 games his first season, 81 games his second, so he finished that year. 30 games his third, and then 66 games his fourth, which was last year. And then this year,
he got to 3. Yeah, he got to
3. So, if you haven't heard yet, Eric Bledsoe tweeted out the tweet, "I don't want to be here," causing the whole NBA community to go into this giant spiral of, well, obviously he's talking about... We
learned later on that it was talking about the firing of Coach Earl Watson.
Well, I mean...
we assume, I guess.
So, there was a report out that I saw before we started recording this podcast, and this is a very still, developing story. But that he had asked for a trade in the preseason, which I don't really like...
Well,
it's not really his... I can't find my words here, but I don't really fault him for that. He's 28. He wants to be on a winning team. He doesn't want to be through this rebuilding process, kind of like Jimmy Butler.
No, I understand that. I don't fault him for that. The reason I don't fault him is because his name has been, and even with the Jimmy Butler, they didn't say we're trying to trade Jimmy Butler. They didn't offer Jimmy Butler around. People were offering for Jimmy Butler. I mean, they probably were. But it wasn't public. I mean, every draft or every moment during the draft I heard, is Eric Bledsoe getting traded to the Nuggets? Is Eric Bledsoe getting traded to the Bulls? Is Eric Bledsoe getting traded to the Cavaliers?
Yeah, so...
I mean,
and that comes from the top, too, because we've been horribly managed for a long, long time.
Complete. I mean...
And it's really sad because this is our 50th year in the league. And... So you
guys are really bad.
So we had our big 50th year anniversary ceremony at the opening season, and it said all this stuff. John McCain came up and had some really nice words to say, and then it goes through and looks at the Suns. The Suns are still the third most winningest franchise in NBA history. Man, how we have fallen. And it was a few years ago that we said...
You can thank Steve Nash for that.
But it's been a few years since we said, this is the first time the Suns haven't made the playoffs in an expand of 3 years or something like that. It's been a span of 6 years now.
Right.
And the Suns have always been, at least, maybe not contenders, but we've always been in there, at least. We had the Steve Nash era. Before that, we had Jason Kidd. Before that, we had Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley. And then, if you go back even further, Tom Chambers, we had all these...
Throwback.
Yeah. We've always been in it. And we're the third winningest franchise behind the LA Lakers and the Celtics. And then the Phoenix Suns. That doesn't, you don't think about that when you think about the Phoenix Suns.
I wonder if the Spurs are up there now.
They probably are, but we still have... Technically, we have a better... record than the Spurs.
It's kind of funny how fast the franchise fell after trading a 38-year-old point guard.
Yeah, these last few years have been really, really hard to be a Suns fan. I still try to look at the positive of this, but when you're horribly managed like this, it's just you don't know what players are thinking. And right now, I'm especially for the development of Josh Jackson and all of our young guys, Devin Booker and all that stuff. Who's to say they don't go to the management tomorrow and say, you know what, it's not worth it. I can demand a trade too, and try to get out of the situation. And it's because you want to if you're in management right now, or at least until next year, you want to lose but you don't want to lose so much that your players get like disenfranchised and just want to leave.
I think that's the problem when you have guys like Bledsoe. I mean, you got to think. Remember, Bledsoe was part of a winning team when you guys won almost 50 games. Mm-hmm. Devin Booker had a 70-point game. So even though you lost the game, but he knows what it's like. Like they know what it's like to have the high, and when you're constantly this low, I think that's what gets to him. I mean, how long can Tyson Chandler say, like, pump these guys up? I mean, for the last 3 years he's been doing it, and you guys aren't winning any more games than you should. I honestly thought you guys would win close to 30-something games, at 30, 32 games.
No, I knew we'd be around 20 or so, just because if it got to the point, because I know what management's doing. They're doing the same thing as Philadelphia did a few years ago, and they got criticized for it too. But now they're like heralded for it, like, oh, it worked.
See, I know so I don't necessarily agree with that, given they still haven't won more than 25 games in a year.
Yeah, I know, but they still have all this promise, at least, for their fans.
It's kind of crazy how you can sell hope for 6-7 years of misery.
So I get what they were trying to do. I still want us to go in on that plan, but you don't want to lose, especially with so we fired our coach 3 games of the season, Earl Watson. And we were just talking about like how Earl Watson was like a really great players coach. He at least got them to play. They
played hard. It's not like, I mean, it's not like you guys were
That's
just like
the problem though. We
saw
in the first 3 years in the first 3 games into the season though, we weren't playing hard. And I just wish if we were thinking about firing Earl Watson, I wish we would have done it during the offseason.
Absolutely, yeah. Firing a coach 3 games in the year.
And I don't think that's why Eric Bledsoe was saying, I want to be here. I think...
Really?
Because they had that report that said that he wanted to be traded in the preseason, and he probably doesn't want to be there because they don't want him there. We've been shopping him around, like you said, for a long, long time. He probably doesn't... He's like, well, I'm not really wanted here. Why do I want to be here? And then, maybe Earl Watson was...
I think it was like the
straw that broke...
the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know why I can't think of that.
Yeah, it's all right.
But, I think that's the...
But I think he wanted out beforehand.
I'm sure
it's just like, oh, Earl Watson's
I'm sure Devin Booker wants out, man. I mean,
hope not. I hope he just
he's not going to say anything.
Please hang on, Devin Booker.
He's 20.
Please hang on. Just hang on.
There's a lot of hope there in Phoenix. You have to get... It's going to be impossible. You have to get something for Eric Bledsoe.
So, you said it's going to be impossible, but I was really, really encouraged by some of the deals I started seeing online. I was like, we have no leverage for any of these trades, and people are, Milwaukee offered Greg Monroe and Thon Maker. I was like, done. I will take that right this second. Greg Monroe will make us better. We might win a little bit more games. Maybe Devin Booker's like, oh, it's not so bad. And Thon Maker's another great young piece.
Yeah, I think...
I'm surprised that Thon Maker's even in the trade, consideration. That means Milwaukee's...
They're not using him that much, and they want to win.
I know, but that's what I was going to say. So that cements the fact that Milwaukee's going for the win right now. They're selling out on these, or not selling out, but they're kind of going away from these young guys and are like, okay, we're ready to win right now. And what we see
I don't know why they would offer Greg Monroe. That's the part I don't understand.
It's just that's what I'm saying. I will take that right this second.
I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
He's one of the best bench players.
But we were saying in our previews, what Milwaukee needs is a really good point guard to lighten the load, at least for Giannis. And we've seen through the first 3 games of Giannis is ready to win right this second.
Absolutely, and I would totally swap Thon Maker and a pick for Bledsoe. Kicking in Greg Monroe feels like it just defeats the purpose because they need a big man. Because then all we'll have is John Henson and Mirza Teletovic.
John Henson's had a pretty good start of the year, though.
But he's always been consistently solid.
He's just really great defensively.
He's good defensively. He's athletic. And unless you're really banking on Jabari Parker coming back fully healthy, giving up 2 big men for a point guard.
I'm surprised Jabari Parker wasn't the one that they would send back.
I imagine that's probably being discussed. I can only imagine. I don't know, but I can only imagine.
Jabari Parker's injury prone, but again,
I would take that in a second.
Oh my gosh, Jabari Parker is a really good player, but I'm kind of getting. I mean, again, the Suns had no leverage in this, and there's still hope there, though. We were in such a bad situation. Eric Bledsoe said he wanted out earlier today. Said the GM came out and said that Eric Bledsoe will not play a single more game or one more game with the Phoenix Suns for the rest of his career. He didn't say for the rest of his career, but he said ever.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think we'll know a lot more tomorrow and definitely
Now,
by the end of the week.
I don't really fault Eric Bledsoe for coming out and asking for a trade, but do you think the fact that he sent out that tweet, he kind of backpedaled on it and said it was about
a hair salon
or whatever bull crap?
It was not.
It was not about that. Do you think that hurts Eric Bledsoe at all?
I don't.
Teams are still going to want him.
Somebody still wanted D'Angelo Russell, and I think what D'Angelo Russell did was way worse than what Eric Bledsoe did.
But liking the tweets of people saying they shouldn't drop Lonzo Ball, it's stupid or whatever.
D'Angelo Russell?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the sending out, betraying Nick Young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm not at all condoning what Nick Young was doing, but at the same time, you don't just throw your brother under the bus like that. That's way worse than demanding a trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just you hope, and Kyrie Irving kind of did the same thing, where you kind of hope these things stay behind closed doors. If he's asking for trade, fine. Obviously, he wanted to expedite it.
Yes.
But I think there's other ways you can do that. And it's unfortunate that it had to be like this. And it's, for a long time there, the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers were the butt of all the jokes. But now, I think for the next year or two, the Suns are going to be the butt of every single joke.
And just think, you could have had Kyrie Irving or Jimmy Butler instead, but you got.
I would take the Jimmy Butler trade. I don't think the Kyrie Irving trade was ever actually discussed. I think it was discussed.
I could almost guarantee it was agreed on until LeBron nixed it. I can totally get on board with that.
I don't know, because I don't think there's any chance Kyrie Irving resigns with us.
I think there is.
Why?
Because Kyrie Irving, to me, is not...
Just how we're managing
He thinks
stuff.
the world is flat. This guy does not think like other people. I think that he just wants to lead a team by himself because he thinks he's better than he is.
But maybe that's why the trade wasn't going as fast as it would have. Maybe that's why we weren't offering Jackson, because we asked Kyrie Irving if he'd resign, he said no.
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that Kyrie Irving would say no if it's 2 years in advance. And I also think Kyrie was definitely going to get another star there. I really do. I don't see it happening. I see him going to another star rather than someone coming to Phoenix. Like I said, I think Kyrie. I would agree with you that that's might what happens, but I think in Kyrie's mind, This way, at least, I know. We were going to trade Eric Bledsoe regardless of what happened. And I think that was fairly known going into the season. Eric Bledsoe's probably not going to finish the season with Phoenix Suns. We didn't think it was going to happen this soon, obviously, and we didn't think it was going to happen in this fashion. But I still would... I don't really... We don't know what Jackson's going to be yet. Early signs are positive, at least, that he's going to be at least already a good scorer. Wait, why does Josh Jackson have positive and you give me crap for Lauri Markkanen?
Because Lauri Markkanen, I don't think he... I didn't say... I said to you, Lauri Markkanen looks a lot better than I thought. That's positive. I just don't think his ceiling is that high.
That feels really passive-aggressive.
Yeah. But anyways, Josh Jackson, we have him for at least 5 years. Unless he demands a trade, which I hope doesn't happen.
I'm gonna give it about three days before he starts demanding a trade.
Again, another thing with Josh Jackson is he did that little. During a game, I think it was the last game he played. So was it the Clippers? Yeah, the Clippers. He made a imaginary. He said it wasn't, but it was very clearly he was doing a imaginary gun to a fan. Yeah, when he's walking to the bench, he's like.
Yeah, that's why Earl Watson got fired. Just has no control.
But
maybe Hoiberg's next.
At least Jackson will have under contract for 5 years because he's on the rookie deal. Then he's restricted.
Right.
We can resign him. Kyrie Irving, there's no guarantee. Even if he would resign, there's still no guarantee that he would resign after 2 years.
I understand you want to try and play it safe here, but there has to come a time where you just have to just grab life and say we're going to win 28 games with Kyrie Irving.
Steve Nash was the ultimate playing it safe guy, so I'm going to keep on playing the safe thing and trade Goran Dragic and Isaiah Thomas and play it safe with the young gun. Gosh, this is why it's all happened. Not because it's Steve Nash thing.
You should never
trade.
Even the Isaiah Thomas part isn't as big of a deal. You should never have traded Dragic.
No,
never.
When that happened, I was screaming.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
I was saying, I know Eric Bledsoe is younger. I know he has all this potential and stuff, but Goran Dragic has pulled us, even that year where we won 50 games, Bledsoe didn't play that almost that entire